Okay, today's morning medicine is this Cactus grandiflorus. Cactus grandiflorus, night blooming cereus. Let's see, Mexico and West Indies is where this medicine's found. Uh, Folklore, given as a heart tonic, this remedy will benefit a large number of cases of weakened and painful heart, and if its keynote symptoms of constriction. So constriction is, whether it's the heart, whether it's the body, wherever it is, constriction is the big keynote, as if an iron band had prevented its normal movements, or heart as if compressed violently. So a band around any part of the hearts, whether it's the head, the heart, the joints, and the heart, as though it's compressed violently struggles to burst its bonds, is present. It'll cure these heart things. That's not me saying it, that's the book. In case someone looks at my YouTube video again and tries to tell me I'm saying the wrong things. Like someone did, they took one of my videos down. I had to redo it. Pain and numbness in the left arm accompanying heart disease. And anybody that has heart disease, that pain and numbness in the arm and behind the left shoulder blade is usually a big indication of heart stuff. Cactus affects powerfully the entire organism, but its internal operation is on the heart and circulation. So any circulating problems, especially the mitral valve, which is on the left side of the heart, that brings the blood in from the lungs into the heart, and the other valve lets it out. In congestive violence of rivals, aconite. Aconite's another great one for sudden heart pains and heart problems and things like that, which is one of its antidotes. And aconite will, if you do, I always talk about provings. If you proved Cactus grandiflorus to get all these symptoms, you give aconite and it'll stop the action of that Cactus grandiflorus. And congestive violence of it rivals aconite, okay, which is one of the antidotes. The pains are unendurable. They extort screams. So these pains will be, because someone will get that pain and they'll scream. Sadness, apprehension, fear of death, and tendency to easily be frightened is characterized. And now that is a big keynote of aconite, which is fright. The cactus mental state, as they do many conditions of the heart disease. So this frightened thing is not only Cactus grandiflorus, but also aconite. Big fright remedies. Many symptoms are worse at night. The night blooming cereus. So this plant, this cactus, the flower blooms at night. So that's kind of a doctrine of signatures, they call it. It blooms at night, and all the symptoms of a person that needs this medicine is at night. Sharp pains in diaphragm, so down in the stomach and chest area, and the girdle, down around the hips, down around the below the belly button, right around that area, around its attachment. So those sharp pains are in the diaphragm and the girdle area. Indigestion with these symptoms. So there's a lot of indigestion going on with these. And I always say, anytime you got a lot of gas or stomach problems, it always affects the heart for some reason. I guess all that gas just puts pressure on the heart. Snyder, a homeopath, I'd imagine, or a doctor, considers cactus specially indicated where the heart is weak and the arteries, the heart and the arteries are weak. Atheromosius, which atheromosius, all that means is the plaque buildup in the arteries. This is confirmed by a venerable correspondent of the homeopathic world. July of 1898, they confirmed this. So they did provings of it, and they confirmed these symptoms of weak heart, and arteries that are clogged. Who, finding his temporal arteries, so the arteries up in the temporal, much swollen and hard, to touch. So you touch the arteries, they were hard and swollen. Several doses of Cactus Grandiflorus 1X, with the result that in a few days they became normal. So the swelling, a couple days of those taken, that doesn't say how often they took it. Usually if someone's having a problem, I put it in water, tell them to pound it and sip it, pound it 10 times, sip it, and keep doing that every 15 minutes. You'd see a quicker result. And number one, the water makes it smooths out the action. And, you know, you're always antidoting homeopathic medicine with foods and smells and different things. But if you keep pounding it and sipping it, it's called plussing. You're basically redosing yourself and you get a quicker result. And I can know, you know, if I'm giving a medicine, I can know, well, that one didn't seem to do it. Or the person says, yeah, that's made me feel better, so you continue it. Sometimes it palliates. In other words, it makes it. I was talking to a homeopath yesterday. I don't know where she was. Taryn is her name, Jacobs. I think it's Jacobs. And was talking to her about, you know, medicines. And I was mentioning that I gave calcarb to my wife and it palliated the pains in her legs, but it didn't remove it. But I gave phosphoric acid and that removed the pains. She still hasn't had the pains. You know, she was having a lot of pain in her legs and I would have to squeeze, do shiatsu, and I would squeeze really hard and it would relieve the pains. Calcarb palliated it, made it feel better, but it always came back. So that wasn't the medicine she needed. And then I was thinking, you know, and she drinks a lot of soda pop, which has the phosphoric acid in it. And I gave her phosphoric acid, and now I've never had to squeeze her legs again, and the pains are gone. And I was talking to her about my wife's, she has a bump underneath her foot. She said it feels like she's walking on a stone. So when I said, you know, we all agreed. I asked a few of these homeopaths when I get on these calls, and they said Ruta, and I was giving her Ruta, and it wasn't taking it away. And then she said, you know, along with the Ruta, keep giving that medicine because that is a indicated remedy. But along with that remedy, give like berberis or something. You got to look at the that, you know, like foot reflexology, which is what is that what is that point related to? Because on your feet you have a lot of points related to the heart, related to the kidneys, and that point does relate to her kidneys. And in her kidneys, she eats a lot of Tylenol PM because she gets headaches. And why does she get headaches? She doesn't eat right. She smokes and drinks a lot of pop. So I don't doubt that's messing up her kidneys. And so anyways, she was saying, you know, along with Ruta, you want to give something that is, you know, like a food or a, you know, yeah, I guess a food for the kidneys. So berberis was one she indicated, but I'm looking under the kidneys to see which one she needs. A case of angina. Let's see, did I finish that? Cactus 1X. Okay. Schneider uses the lower potencies in this condition. So when the arteries are swollen like that, he said he uses that lower potency and it always helps. A case of angina pectoris, which is heart problems, was cured by the 30C with the following characteristics. Sensation as though a swarm of hornets were going from pectoral region, the pectoral muscles, to the heart. So this swarm of hornets, I don't know, it's not so much a stinging pain, but a, you know, like a formication, like a numbness or a tingling, I would say. But why they said hornets, I don't know, but like a tingling from the pectoral down to the heart. And he used a 30C in angina pectoris, which is a heart disease, and it cured it. Chowdhury, which is a homeopath, has reported a case cured with characteristics being chill is severe. And this medicine is very chilly, this person would be. But the chill is severe at 11 a.m. with thirst, headache, body is hot, even though they have that chill, no separate heat. So the heat's over the whole body. It's not like hot arm or hot leg or hot heart. The heat's over the whole body around 11 a.m. And he doesn't say what potency, but he cured the case with those characteristics. When there is heat, there is thirst and short breath. So they have this heat over the whole body, kind of like a fever, but they have a great thirst with it and short breath. Some medicines have heat with no thirst. Well, I don't know if pulsatilla is like it, because this medicine reminds me of pulsatilla. it's opposite of pulsatilla. I think pulsatilla is no thirst, and this medicine wants in the mind they don't want anybody around them. They don't want nobody saying, "Oh, you okay?" and that. They reject that. Where pulsatilla, they want somebody. They have no thirst with the fever. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's no thirst with a fever, and they have. I didn't really look this up, but they have. They want people to say, "Are you okay?" They want to be comforted. And this is like what they call modalities, which I'm going to get into in a little bit here. When there is a heat and a thirst and short of breath, so they can't catch their breath, they have a thirst with this heat. At times, there is an entire absence of sweat. So even with this heat in that, they will not sweat. Uh, Chief action, I'm going to get into this real quick, of cactus centers around the heart and circulation. That's a 3 with that. Acts on the circular muscular fibers, hence constrictions. Lots of constrictions with this remedy. It is the heart and arteries, especially, that responds to the influence of cactus, general weakness, and prostration. All right, so Cactus grandiflorus, which is a night blooming cactus. Heart and circulation is a 3. Constriction and pain in the heart as from an iron band being around it. And that can be in the head too. They can have constriction there, constriction in the joints like that. And it's always like something squeezing it like an iron band, but especially in the heart. And it's spasmodic. It's like it's not a constant squeezing, but it's spasmodic, and that's a 3. And it's hemorrhagic, so a lot of bleeding from nose, vagina, mouth, gums, coughing. They'll have bleeding. And this medicine, that's a 3. And this medicine is a formation of clots speedily, so they, any kind of bleeding like that will clot up quickly. It might be good for, people having these clots. I forget what that disease is called. Better in open air, better by pressure. And, with the joints, the better by pressure. Anyways, worse lying left side. So if they lie on their left side, the heart pains are worse. Worse 11 a.m. and 11 p.m. And noise and light, worse noise and light. Ill effects of the sun. They don't like the sun. They don't like dampness, and that's probably with the joints. Disappointed love. So there's anybody having, problems in their love life, and grief, the loss of something. Suddenness is a keynote of this in the mind. Suddenness of melancholy from heart symptoms. So these heart symptoms, you don't think, if you think about it, we always think about the heart as something that affects other parts of us mentally. So this sadness and melancholy, and they have heart symptoms with it, you'd consider Cactus grandiflorus. Anxiety, lots of anxiety, and this suddenness, sorry, it ain't suddenness, I'm sorry, sadness and melancholy from heart symptoms. Sorry about that. I gotta take a breath. I'm trying to go too fast because there's a lot to this, and I don't even have everything that this is good for in it. Anxiety, which aconite has a lot of that. Ill-humored, so they're not very happy people, and they have that sadness and melancholy, and that can be from the disappointed love, the grief, those kind of things, but it's always heart symptoms with that sadness. I don't know why I said suddenness. Is there a suddenness with this? Probably, because aconite has suddenness too, and these two remedies can be interchangeable in certain things. Colic with loose stools. So they have a lot of stomach problems with these loose stools, burning. They can also have, you'll see, they can also have constriction of or what am I trying to think of here? Now, the opposite of diarrhea is, take a breath, Sal, relax. The opposite of diarrhea is constipation. And I think, yeah, constipation. So, but with the diarrhea, they have, with that colic, they'll have the diarrhea or the loose stools. They have burning pains in the abdomen. Pain bearing down affects the chest. So all these pains and that, and there's stuff going on in the abdomen affects the chest. Exophalmic goiter, which exophalmic is the eyes. Pretty sure it's the eyes popping out. What was exophalmic again? Anyways, rheumatism of shoulder on the left, and that's to be expected with heart stuff. So lumbar is stiff on first moving. That's a Russ-Tox symptom. You know, Russ-Tox is better by motion. So when the Russ-Tox patient is stiff, they get up and start moving, and it's stiff, and then it gets better. So this one has, you know, the same thing. Lumbar is stiff at first, moving, and then it loosens up. Constriction, and this is how you tell between different medicines. Like for rheumatism, you'd have a lot of medicines. So Cactus, Grandiflorus, and Russ-Tox have that stiffness when you first move. Constriction, as if bound in the chest, hindering respiration. That's a 3. So there's that constriction again, with like it's bound by something. And they have rattling mucus. So you'll hear them breathing and the mucus will rattle around. Ears have pulsation. Hearing is diminished by a buzzing, ringing, a singing in the ear. So those are the noises in the ear. You'd consider Cactus grandiflorus, and that's, you know, that their hearing isn't as good because of all the noise. Eyes, bloodshot, and there's that exophalmic goiter. I thought so. The eyes, exophalmic just means the eyes are bulging, you know, and that's what the goiter, that's what the thyroid stuff going on there. Dimness, and there's a whole thing with, I would love to get into with the goiter, you know, with the thyroid. You know, too much thyroid causes loss of weight. Not enough thyroid causes weight gain. So a lot of people have thyroid problems that causes their weight gain and stuff. So, or causes a loss, you know, they're losing weight rapidly. And their eyes, they have a problem with distance, seeing distance, and their sight seems obscured, like they can't really make out stuff. Right-sided face pain, that's a 3. So neuralgia in the face on the right side. Returns same hour daily. Cedron has that too. What is cedron? I think that's a plant too. Or is that? No, that's a snake. Yeah, cedron is a snake remedy. But the same hour every day, that face pain comes on. Female dysmenorrhea, which is painful menses. Constriction of a vagina prevents sex. So they can't have sex because the muscles are so constricted. Menses are early and dark. Cocculus, magnesium, causticum? Magnesium C, anyways, has that. So the menses are early and dark. You'd think of cocculus, mag C. Appetite is good. Digestion is weak. Or they can have a loss of appetite. Stomach rejects food. Now, this is because of all the stomach things going on, all the, you know, colic and the problems going on down there. And that's basically why, because the digestion is weak. Even though they have a good appetite, they can't digest stuff. So, you know, they basically have all this colic and stuff, and that can bring on this loss of appetite. And the stomach will reject the food because it just doesn't want to go through all that. Let's see. Headache if misses a meal. So that's where that digestion's good. They miss a meal, they get a headache, they take a meal, and they have all these problems, and they just, what a predicament that is. But if they miss a meal, they have a headache. Arsenicum, lachesis, and lycopodium. They all have that same misses a meal. So you'd have to determine with some of these other symptoms, Cactus grandiflorus compared to arsenicum, lachesis, and lycopodium. Sensation is of a weight on vertex. Vertex is the very top of the head. So it feels like there's a weight pushing down on it. That's a 3. Congestive headache, which is, you know, congestion is, it can either be from blood or it can be from, you know, sinuses and stuff. So they have a congestive headache. Most likely from blood with all this heart stuff and circulation stuff. Constriction of the neck of bladder causing retention of urine. So they have a hard time urinating because the bladder's neck of the bladder is once again constricted. Now, it doesn't say like a band squeezing it, but that's most likely what it feels like. Let's see. Oh, sorry, heart. I missed heart, didn't I? Feels, and this is the most important part of it because it is a big heart remedy. Feels clutched and released alternately. So that's that spasms. It'll clutch and release by an iron band. That's a 3. Endocarditis with mitral insufficiency with rapid action. That endocarditis is the, what is that again? I looked that up. I'm not going to look it up now. You can look it up if you want. But the mitral insufficiency, the mitral valve is the one that brings in the blood from the lungs. And it can have the mitral insufficiency. It's not working, and it can have a rapid action all of a sudden. Aneurysm of large arteries of heart. So there's that aneurysm. That's a 3. A lot of heart stuff going on there. Constriction of neck of bladder causing retention of urine. I just went over that. Clots of blood in urine. So there's that clotting, that sudden or formation of clots speedily. They get a lot of blood clots coming out in their urine, and there's burning in the kidney when they're urinating. Rheumatism of the limbs of the shoulder, the upper lower arms, so the whole arm basically, and the hips down the feet. Worse rest and motion. Worst rest and motion. So when they rest, their rheumatism's worse, and when they get up, that beginning motion, they're stiff, and that's when it's worse, when they start moving. But I imagine when they move, it gets better. Same thing with Russ talks. Let's do pulse. Irritable, feeble, irregular, intermittent pulse, especially after forceps delivery. So when they have a baby that's pulled out, that's what they would have, an irritable, feeble, irregular, intermittent pulse. So this is for a lady having a baby. Engorgement of liver due to heart disease. So that's why I say the heart is affecting a lot of the organs and stuff. Difficult breathing with suffocating and fainting. So this person, they're breathing so bad, this is called dyspnea, and they can't get their breath, and they're suffocating, and they will faint. Chronic bronchitis, that's that rattling mucus in there. Someone who always has bronchitis, it always comes on. You think of Cactus grandiflorus, and I'm sure there's other ones that you'd have to differentiate between to find out which medicine is best for them. Hemoptysis, which is blood with cough with heart disorder. So they have heart disorders, they have this cough, this bronchitis, and there's bleeding, blood in the mucus. They'd be bleeding from the lungs. A male has prostate affections. Weight in anus. So there's prostate problems for males, and there's a weight in the anus. Mouth is loss of taste for food. Huh, so interesting. With nausea. So this could also bring on the loss of appetite with they get nausea. The taste isn't right. Tongue is purple. Now that's weird. I haven't heard many. Usually the tongue is white, brown, white in the middle, clear red on the edges, or like belladonna, it's like a strawberry color on it. And they have, with this tongue is purple, and they have thick brown swords on the teeth. So they have big brown spots on the teeth. Dryness of tongue like it's burnt. Nose has profuse nosebleed. Ceases soon after. So that's that clotting. They have the nose will just start bleeding like crazy, and it'll just cease quickly because it's, as it says, formation of clots speedily. Fluent coryza. So this could bring on that congestive headache. They have a lot of coryza up there, and all of a sudden it becomes a fluid coryza. Constipation. This can be from hay fevers. This could be from allergies. This could be from infections, different things like that. Now, coryza is always thick. What do they call it when it's not coryza, when it's not thick? I forget. Anyways, constipation. They were talking diarrhea up here with the abdomen stuff. Constipation. Stool is hard, large, and black. Itching in anus. So these are large, hard. Usually the stools when they're having constipation is small balls and dark. This one's very black and they're large balls. Itching in anus, pricking like pins in anus. There's a few medicines that have that. Fistula with heart palpitation. So fistula is an opening where the body's there's an opening that the stool will go into different parts of the body. It's almost like a hole that's created. Hemorrhages of bowels and malaria with heart symptoms. So a lot of heart symptoms that bring on a lot of this different stuff in the anus. But there's pain there, I mean, bleeding there also. And hemorrhoids are swollen, painful. So painful, swollen hemorrhoids, you consider Cactus grandiflorus. Diarrhea, that's why I say it's either diarrhea, it can be one or the other. Diarrhea is watery, mucus, and bilious. Bilious is, the desire to throw up also with this diarrhea that's watery and mucus filled. Sensation of weight in anus again. Dry, skilly skin, herpes on outside of elbows, and right internal malleus. Malleus is the ankle bone. So on the elbow and the ankle bone, you have this herpes type of infection going on. Sleepless from palpitation, dreams in fright, and it wakes them. These palpitations awakes them. That's a 3. And they have these frightful dreams. Burning pulsation in the stomach. Constriction. There's a 3. That's that constriction, like something squeezing. Vomits blood. Acrid, sour fluid rises to the throat. So this is like heartburn and mouth. Pulsation in celiac artery. So the arteries down in the celiac region down in the stomach. Coldness, and this is all temperature. Coldness with sweat. Persistent subnormal temperature. So their temperature is always low. This could be anemic. Subnormal is a 3. Intermittent paroxysms of temperature around 11 a.m. So this always comes on that same time. Throat, suffocative constriction. There's more constriction there at the throat with throbbing carotenoids and arteries. So the throbbing carotenoids in the throat, which is the arteries. Warmth in throat and chest. So there's a lot of warmth going on in there. Vertigo is worse on deep breathing or exertion. Any exertion brings on this vertigo, and anytime they take a deep breath, this is where that fainting, the head fainting comes in. I don't know where that was. Anyways, from blood congestion in head. So this is why I say that headache that congestive headache can be from the congestion of the blood in the head. 28. Oh man, I'm almost done. Oh well, we're gonna go a little long, I guess. Comments. Cactus helps the weakness and coldness of limbs, which characterize many heart cases. So there's weakness and coldness of the limbs because the blood isn't flowing. That's the arteries and stuff. Constricting pains run through the pathogenesis, throat, chest, heart, bladder, rectum, vagina. All have constricting sensations. Twitching of muscles and sensation of constriction produced by touching the affected part. Hemorrhages from the nose, lungs, rectum, stomach. So a lot of bleeding from all these areas. Bloody congestion from nose, lungs, all that, which are in a way a counterpart of the constrictive sensation. And they have prostration. Among the prominent symptoms of cactus are heavy pain in vertex, top of the head, like a weight. Periodical, and these are like keynotes, periodical attacks of suffocation with fainting. They have cold sweat on the face and loss of pulse. So you can't barely feel their pulse. Fluttering, and if they pass out and you're checking their pulse, cactus may be one you consider. Fluttering and palpitation of heart, worse when walking or lying on left side. And that makes sense. You lie on the heart side and that'll cause the heart to flutter in that. Heart disease with swelling of left hand only. So the left hand swells, numbness of left arm, rheumatism of all joints beginning in upper limbs. So it starts in the upper limbs and then it goes into the hips and down the joints. The pains are very sharp, causing the patient to cry out. So they scream. Menses cease at night. So that's interesting because usually night symptoms are always worse. So it cease at night. Digitalis is a remedy that actually is a substance that the regular doctors use. Spigelia, all that. In mental symptoms, digitalis and lachesis for any mental stuff going on. In congestion to the head, belladonna and glonine. In pain and pressure in the head, arnica, carboveg, corar iodatum, nux vomica, opium, and spigelia. This is why I say you got to determine, if you're going for that pressure in the head, you got to determine between these different medicines. Weight in vertex, aloe, aluminum. In heart affections, aconite, simisfugia, amyl nitrate, arnica, belladonna, bovine, crode H, digitalis, eupatorum, a lot of medicines for that heart affections, as if a cap over heart. Okay, constrictions of chest, zinc and kali chloride, cadmium sulf, aluminum, belladonna, bovine, and arnica, kali nitrate, lachesis are all constriction of the chest. Any constriction, stramonium. Now, if it's constriction of the uterus, you're looking at murex. I forget the rest of that word. Vagina, calicarb, constriction of the vagina. Immenses, ceasing at night, causticum would be considered. In leucorrhea, ammonium muraticum. In intermittent fevers, or intermittents, I guess it's fevers, arsenicum, bryonia, calc, eupatorin, pur, nat myrrh, rustox, and sulfur. In dropsies, which is the throw up with heart stuff, digitalis and calmia. I forget how you say the rest of that medicine right now. Antidoted by aconite, camphor, and china, eupatorin, pur. It's compatible with digitalis, which is one that the regular doctors use for heart stuff. Tumultuous action of heart, slow, irregular pulse, scanty urine, dropsy, which is fluid retention, eupatorin, pur, lachesis, nux vomica, sulfur, imploracy, sulfur and pleurisy. Okay. Follows well aconite, arnica, arsenicum, belladonna, bryonia, chamomile, gelsemium, ipecac, calibryonium. Diaphragmitis, lachesis, nux vomica, and rustox. Why did I go through all that? Because I wanted to get that into my community. If that always helps, those relations, those comparables, those different things, that helps you when you're looking up certain modalities, so certain symptomologies. When you're looking those things up, you're going to have a few different medicines that you need to consider in those different conditions. So you're going to have to determine which medicine would fit that person's, what that vitality of that person's telling you. And yesterday on the call, we were talking about people coming in with allopathic thinking. I have they tell you some disease they have. Well, I don't want to know your disease. It may help a little bit, but it can confuse too, because I want to know what's actually going on with you. What are you feeling when this happens? What makes it feel better? What makes it feel worse? All these different things, and a lot of times, like some of the homeopaths are like, man, my confidence is down because I couldn't take care of this one patient. And I'm thinking, it's not your fault, because what happens is they're coming in with allopathic thinking, telling you the disease they have, and you're trying to get symptoms out of what's going on, and it's hard to get it out of them because they're like, well, what does me being depressed have to do with my heart problem? So we get like, I don't know why this isn't working. Then we start thinking allopathically, which is homeopaths, we're trying to look for similars. And allopaths are looking for opposites. Opposites are we have a fight of we're have a war on cancer, a war on drugs, a war on this. Homeopaths are looking for what's the similar medicine that is similar to what's going on with them. So, yeah, and that's why I say homeopaths. They have a hard time because allopaths has suppressed the homeopathic medicine so much that nobody even has an idea of how that works. So anyways, I'm off my soapbox. That is morning medicine. You can age, but you don't have to get old. Depends on how much you eat and how you move.